Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning and welcome to a very exciting edition of Keeneland Today right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with another blue. I guess blue's the theme. Godolphin, maybe we like today. My good friend from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Saratoga Special, Paul Halloran. Paul, it is Pick 6 carryover day. There is a monster carryover here at Keeneland. There's carryovers in New York. There's carryover San Anita. When you boost up that base bet, which, by the way, I like in general, you're going to have more carryovers.
Yes, and it's I chuckle, Howard, because you see a lot of people on Twitter and like, okay, well, we're going to kind of take it easy between now and the Breeders' Cup because we want to, we want to save resources for the Breeders' Cup. And here I am sitting in my chair yesterday watching the last race at Keeneland blow up, and oh God, it almost blew up to my liking. By the way, that's another story for another day.
Okay,
they had Kelsey Danner's 5-horse, who actually ran fourth and missed by about 3 noses for 4 figures in the double. So anyway, no one cares about my problems. But anyway, yeah, it's you got to take a shot at Keeneland. 190 head start. That's what we call a takeout mitigator, right?
There you go. Yeah, I was going to take it easy for the Breeders' Cup, and now I'm sitting in a handicap license. I've got like a $500 Pick 6 ticket, which for me is a big dollar amount. I don't know if I'm going to play it. But anyway, look, let's get started, Paul. We're going to jump right in. Yep. Again, the Pick 6 at Keeneland today, and there's some big scratches that just came in. I don't know if Equibase is going to show them or the PPs are going to show them. I'm sure they will very soon. I did write them down, ladies and gentlemen, so you do not need to comment. There's also some jockey changes too, Paul. So I'm not sure if there's some sickness or jockeys decide to, go somewhere else. I don't know. It's a little bit strange. There's a bunch of jockey changes, so we'll have to find out about that. But it is a beautiful day in Lexington. It's going to be fast and firm. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the big $190,000 Pick 6 carryover today at Keeneland. It starts in race 4. And ladies and gentlemen, you might see some adjustments at the bottom of the screen from Paul and I because of the scratches. Of course, they just came in. So let's get right to it. The first race is an optional allowance, $80,000 for the girls, 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. It is a field of 8. There are no scratches. The number 8 is going to be ridden by Florent Giroux. Take Torres off. The number 8, Tapit Janali, is going to be Florent Giroux. Morning line favorite, pretty big here. The number 4, Mighty Madison. Phil Bauer and Ira Ortiz. I'm going 6, 4, 8. Paul, I believe that's 4. I don't think those numbers are right, Paul. I think you had the 4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Do you have 4-9? No, I didn't write down the right numbers for you. What did you have there, Paul?
418. 418.
All right, we're off to a rip roaring start. All right, hopefully the rest of it is correct. Paul's got 418. I've got 648. Paul, Mighty Madison could definitely be a single for some people here if you want to just go for it. And you know what happens? If you don't hit it and you single the 4, the old pick 5. Talk about the 4, Mighty Madison, Paul.
Yeah, well, this is a horse I had as my most likely winner of the day on the Keeneland Power Picks for those who have subscribed.
Right.
I trust that they have digested and memorized them by now. It's 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'll just go through that reasoning. Obviously, horses coming out of Saratoga have performed very well at this meet. This horse was 0 for 2 at Saratoga, but lost by a total of less than a length. As I point out, those back-to-back 87s are better than any horse in this race has won. Not a lot better than some horses, but I do like the back-to-back Beyer tops. I think Phil Bauer's success is well documented. 33%, 1 for 3 at Keeneland, 22% for the year, which is unbelievable. 20% at Keeneland the last 5 years. So, and now you mentioned it, you throw in Irad, and he and Phil actually don't team up that much, although Irad did ride this horse last time. I think St. Benedict's Prep is a decent horse. Now, I can see being concerned about the 4 seconds and 2 wins, but before I did the power picks, before I knew there was a carryover, and I just thought this was the closest thing to a heavy lean all day.
Yeah, look, I mean, she obviously is going to be a big favorite. I'm not sure I love the work pattern. I don't know if you noticed that, Paul. If I were to nitpick, this horse last worked on the 23rd of August before the September 1st race. Obviously, was pointed to these Saratoga races. Then had a month off in the works, Paul. I don't know if you saw that. And then at a low maintenance race, followed by a good breeze. Maybe they just wanted to give a horse a little bit of a break. You know, I don't know about time on the farm, but I'm slightly concerned about that, but obviously she's the horse to beat. I'm actually interested quite a bit in number 6 Home Game, a very lightly raced 3-year-old filly for Bill Morey, who I think is going to sit right off the speed. I love turnbacks, as you know. I think this horse has upside. Obviously, number 6 Home Game is going to have to step up her game, Paul. But I don't know. I'm not going to single the 4 here. I just have a weird feeling. We'll see. I'm also going to use Tapa Janelle, especially with Giroux on now. Eddie Milligan is a lower percentage trainer, but this is a very good horse who was staked at Oaklawn in the spring and has figs, frankly, that are not that far off the others, and that was in the spring of this year. And again, I like turnbacks, so Tapa Janelle to me interesting. I would assume you're going to mainly lean on the 4. Would that be a lone A for people that don't get our Keeneland power picks for you, and a lone no Bs as well, or how do you structure that? Very briefly.
I think the 1 is a B. If you look at the 1 has 2 bad races out of 6, and they were a 2-turn route at Santa Anita and a 2-turn sprint at Charlestown. So other than that, her 4 1-turn sprints at both Santa Anita and Churchill have been very good. The buyers are very competitive. 5 out of 6 buyers in the low to mid 80s. So the 1 will be my second choice there. Fibber also came back and ran pretty well yesterday.
Navy Bell, interesting. I just want to look, I'm not poo-pooing Paul's picks. I just want to note the work tab, everyone. Ran on August 23rd, has 1 very slow work in the last month, and that's it. I don't like that, Paul. Maybe we're overthinking it, or I'm overthinking it. I don't know, as we have. Okay. All right. Let's go on to race 5. So you obviously people can single there if they want to in race 4. I wouldn't blame anyone for doing that. Mighty Madison is a pretty likely winner. I am a little bit dubious though. The next race, I'm very bummed, Paul, because I had a big lean here at a at a middling price that was going to be a separator for me in the pick 6, and now that one is out. So I'm extremely disappointed, and now the scratches actually did just come up on Equibase, so Evan will know what I'm talking about. Race 5, here we go. $40,000 claimers, mile and a 16th on the dirt, and the scratches are the number 2, who I really liked a lot, Michaelicious, and the number 7, Batera. So the 2 and the 7 are both out. I thought the 2 was a major player. I'm going to have to veer. Paul, I know your picks are wrong. I realize what I did. I'm going to need your picks today. I apologize. I typed something in wrong, and I think I'm 1 ahead. What are your picks, Paul, for this race?
They now would be 598.
598 for Paul.
Because I had the 2 third.
Okay. Paul's going to go 598. I was going to go 245. I got to be honest, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do now, but for purposes of the show and people watching, I will go 4-5 something. You know what? I'll go 4-5-9. How about that? I'm going to go 4-5-9. Don't hold me to that, everyone, because I'm going to have to make some changes. 4-5-9. Here we go. Paul, the 2 was a closer. I can't recall what the 7 was, so I don't think that affects the pace situation. You're going to go with number 5, and he can't. You're hoping he can for Myers and Drew 6-1.
Yeah, low profile connections on the trainer side, although Shane Myers is 18%. I did do a formulator on Shane Myers off the claim, staying in a claiming race, and he wins at 23%. He does pick up a big name jockey in Giroux. I think this race, as I point out in the power picks, Howard, this is a very important race if you're a pick 5 player, because it's the ankle leg on the early pick 5 and the opening leg. So I was going with 3 A's in the race, and now I'm going with 2 A's with the 2 scratched. But my A's were the 259, and now they'll be the 5 and 9. So yeah, I ended up with a slight lean to the 5, but wanting to have at least 2 or 3 on the top line.
Noah Maher. I thought Noah was playing golf this morning. Maybe he's on the course watching because he's got that much talent, Paul, that he could probably be playing golf and watching the show at the
He's
same
not
time.
playing with $190,000 Keeneland carryover. No, the only thing he's putting using his racing form as a little mat to putt off of. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Okay, I don't know about that. He said yesterday, but no, it is very possible he could detour into the pick six. We also, by the way, I just want to throw this out. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I mean, once in a while I gotta do it, Paul. Our Stephanie HHH got a shout out on TVG on Friday. Yes, our Stephanie, thank you. Matt Bernier just happened to mention HHH and mentioned my name, I think yesterday actually on the show. So Matt and TVG, FanDuel, thanks everyone. Really appreciate that.
Well, we're on a roll because
We
a
are.
week ago Thursday, we're on a roll. A week ago Thursday, Caleb Keller was nice enough to give a shout out to me in the book on live television.
There we go. Well, we're
We're
getting some
2 for
good
2.
shout outs. Well-deserved shout outs, Paul. Got started. We can say that. Look, I'm not a huge cat lover. I'm more a dog guy, but cat on time at 8-1 with the 4, Ken Sweezy, I'm interested in with IRAD. This is a big jockey switch from Miller to IRAD. It's a trainer switch. I know the horse is a little bit slow, Paul, but he's been working well. He worked at Keeneland. Sweezy's decent off the claim. I'm just looking for a fresh face here. The fact that IRAD pops on perks my interest tremendously. Again, he's not going to pop on a horse that can't win. I know we're not going to get 8-1 with the scratch of the 2 and IRAD now, but I do think Cat on time and string. I like your 5. There's a lot you can use here. The 9 Gatlinburg for the Asterson family could show a lot of speed. With Eric, Eric's just going to gun and probably just try to wire the field. I thought the number 6 was interesting, Interlock Empire, although Colbrick is cold right now. You're using the 8-6 Kings for Sharp and Gaffleone. That's a combination that is deadly. I just thought this horse was a bit slow, but again, in a race like this, Paul, nothing wrong with going with Sharp and Gaffleone. This has turned into a spread race for me, and I have to completely adjust because I really like the 2, Michaelicious, and frankly, I'm going to have to make some major changes now.
Yeah, as I said, I had 3 top picks, and the 2's one of them. So I
look at
I
that.
hear you.
You could spend an extra $10, Paul, on the pick 6.
Well, this next race coming up, we're going to need it.
For sure. Thanks, Trish. You can, again, below in the on YouTube, there is a $ below the live chat, and you can feel free to donate some dollars. Trish, that's very nice of you. Really do appreciate that. That, of course, goes to everyone here in the podcast. I was completely joking about the using for the pick 6. All right, let's go on to the next race, Paul. Again, this is a very tough race, race 5. Race 6, let me switch that. And let me go down to here. And again, I might need your picks again. Go ahead with your picks, please, Paul, in this race.
5, 12, 8, unless any are scratched.
Okay. 5, 12, 8. I know you sent them to me, Paul. I apologize. On air live here. Paul's going 5, 12, 8. I'm going 3, 9, 4. Paul, this race is so tough. I look, Paul, we've done over 200 shows together, I'm sure. I can't remember lately, at least, where we did not have a top pick for any of the races. You don't know that, but I'm just going to tell you right now. Paul and I have different top picks for every single race. And this race is so crazy, Paul. We've got 6 horses we're tipping out first, 1, 2, 3. None of them are the same. Well, let's take a look at this tough allowance race, which, by the way, is also leg 2 of the All-Turf pick 3. Congratulations, by the way, to Noah Maher for hitting that yesterday. The All-Turf pick 3, this is the second leg. It's a $110,000 purse, a mile on the turf. Rail is 10 feet. It's an N2X. You see the scratch the 6 All-American Rose, scratch the 14, 15, and 16. I believe the 13 is an AE. And Paul, as I go full screen with you, don't forget about the AEs. Check out the Perryville yesterday. Anyway, which basically caused this pick six in the first place. So 14, 15, 16, and 6 are out. Paul's going to go with the 5, Just the Sky, Cherie DeVoe, Johnny V. I believe there's a jockey change there, Paul. You may not be aware of. The number 5 is going to be written by Jose Ortiz. Certainly nothing wrong with that. 8-1. You're going with Cherie and Just the Sky in race 6.
Yes, this is. I'm giving away all my power pick stuff, Howard, but they're already out, so I guess it doesn't matter that much.
It's all good.
I use this as one of my spot plays, and it's funny, Howard. I have the lead in. If you read my power picks, which I'm sure you have, the lead in is in what I think is the most wide open race on the card, and certainly our picks justify that. It really is the type of race where you're going to be looking for value. This horse took 6 starts to break her maiden. Cherie is 19% winning off a maiden win. She's 15% off this type of layoff. Now, one thing I want to point out, Howard, people might be concerned by this layoff, August 11th. After finally breaking the maiden, they're like, well, why do you lay the horse up for 2 months? Well, here's the deal. The horse is a turf horse. And as I point out in the power picks, Churchill is running turf races as often as Oaklawn, which is no turf. So if Cherie did not want to bring this horse to Saratoga after that August 11th win and didn't want to go to the hills and valleys of Kentucky Downs, then you end up with a 2-month layoff. So I'm gonna attribute the layoff to that. Now I don't know. I will say that the race this horse won has not come back that strong. There have been 0 winners and 9 horses have gone, so that is a little alarming. But you know what? The buyers, those 70 buyers, seem to be right in the hunt here, and the horse is 8-1 morning line, which means hopefully she stays at least 5 or 6-1. And I just want a price in this race, and I'm on the record as how I feel about Cherie. So
yes, future Hall of Famer, according to Paul Halloran. He's probably right about that. You're right about. I didn't look at the field. You're right about that, Paul. Not only did no one's come out of that race and won, a lot of the figs have dropped down. But again, this is a very trip-dependent race, in my opinion. I'm planning on taking a bit of a stand here, Paul. When I say a stand, I just mean I'm not planning going deep in the pick six. I like the 3 and 9 quite a bit. The number 3, and this is nothing overly creative. Number 3 is Leo Toro for Lynch and Cannon. Declan Cannon is a solid rider. Now, look, she got a huge fig at Kentucky Downs. I know Kentucky Downs is weird, but you know what? She got a big fig the race before that on the dirt, on the lead. I just think she's an improving filly here, Paul. She's only 3. I don't think Declan's going to be too far back with this horse. I don't see a ton of early speed. And if Declan can work out the right trip and Lynch stays with Declan Cannon, where he could go a lot of other jockeys, right? So I do like that also, Paul. I think Leo Toro is a very likely winner here in the field that's wide open. And just you can't go deep in every single race. I just want to talk about the 9 also. The 9 is one of my price plays of the entire day, Paul. The number 9 is 15-1 morning line for Anna Navarrete and Edgar Morales. Get Twisted. Now, this horse, and again, it's a wide open field, right, Paul? This horse ran perfectly fine going 5.5 furlongs last year as a 3-year-old. Had a long break. Obviously, that's not a great sign. But you know what? Off that long break, this lower profile trainer went right to a $243,000 stake off the big layoff. And you know what? Split the field and lost to Walkathon, who's very good, and that field was a million times better than this field. Has been working very well. I think that's the Skylight. I think it's Training Center. I think it's what it's called, but been working well consistently. Stays with Edgar Morales. Gets blinkers on. Look, Paul, I don't see any reason why this horse can't improve and help blow up the pick six. I think this horse is fascinating. I don't mind the lower percentage trainer here. Actually, he's 18%. Actually, it's not really lower percentage at all. Edgar Morales, I know he's 2 for 36. This is Keeneland, Paul. I mean, look, it's really tough. Anyway, I'm interested in the 9 quite a bit. Let's talk about your 12, then we'll move on because we got a lot of races to get to. I didn't know what to do with Satin Blue, Paul. I got to be honest. I love Sharp and Gaffleone, obviously. This is a very difficult post. I'm guessing Gaffleone's going to send pretty hard, although two back, this filly did close going 5.5. She's got distance questions and post questions and 3-1 morning line. I'm probably going to use her. I'm a bit dubious, though, personally.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have in my notes maybe a mile on turf might just be it, but that is purely speculation. And Sharp, who has good stats, does not have terrific stats in this scenario. He's only 9% off a maiden win. It goes up to 10% if you add turf. And again, this is another horse that took 7 starts to get going, and Kentucky Downs turned out to be what the doctor ordered. But obviously, that was a major switch in strategy, Howard, as you pointed out. You have a horse coming from last, and then the Kentucky Downs going wire to wire, which we don't see very often.
No.
So, yeah, this is honestly, I think you probably have the right idea, because this is a race where I think you have to take a stand, go thin, and know there's a decent chance you might get knocked out, or just buy the race. If you had the budget, this race, if you're playing caveman, this race has the all button written all over it. Get it? All over it.
I do get it. I like that. Look, you have to hit every race. So I know Andy Sterling's talked about this, and he's exactly right. Pick sixes are not really the time to get cute. Now I might be criticizing myself and being hypocritical, as I just said I like a 15-1 shot a few minutes ago, but I think that horse has a legitimate shot to win. I don't think she should be 15-1. I think she should be 6-1 or 8-1. So it's not really the 3-1 that I like about Satin Blue. There's a lot of questions here. In saying that, I got the horse as a B, Paul, and I'm probably gonna use her anyway. Depending on my budget, we'll see. You're using the 8. I'm using the 4 also. Again, there's a lot of ways to go in this race. Let's go ahead on to race. What is this? Race 8 now, I believe. Hold on a second. Race 7. Sorry, race 7. Race 7 is a nice high class allowance optional. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat. Please comment in the chat. We're going to be a little bit shorter today with our show, so I'm not going to have time to show the chat, but we thank everyone for watching. Paul, remind me at the end to talk about our upcoming Breeders' Cup shows this week, because they are starting mañana, tomorrow, Monday night. Very excited about that. Here we go. Race 7, optional allowance, $100,000, a mile and an eighth on the dirt. This is a really nice race. It's a big field. There are no scratches at all. It's a field of 11. The morning line favorite is number 9, Hero Status, a very interesting horse coming from California for Glatt and Size. Let's see where we're going. I believe I have everything correct for you here, Paul. Is that right? 11.97. That's going correct. 7. I'm going 7.911. Paul's going 11.97. So, Paul, even though it's a big field, we all are using the same 3. And I got to be honest, I'm going to go skinny here too, to some extent. I like the 7 quite a bit. I mean, a lot. If I were to write the power picks today, I think the 7 would be my play of the day. And I'll go first here, Paul. Number 7, Call Me Fast. There's the combination, Sharp and Gaffleone. There's a lot of things I like about this horse. Let me go ahead to the PPs here. These are basically, a lot of these horses have been staked. These are like borderline, grade 3 horses. Some of them have been staked before. Call Me Fast is one of those, Paul. The first thing I want to mention about Call Me Fast is go back and look to last year. Last year, this horse was running grade 2s and grade 3s against Skippy, Long Stocking, Rail and Roll. How about First Mission in the Ali Shiva, and running mid to high 90s going this distance? I have zero concerns about the distance. This year, this horse has not been as good, obviously. Okay, the comeback race was 7 furlongs too short. The slop, he's 1 for 4 on slop. He ran perfectly fine against First Mission, but had no chance there. Then he runs fine against Extra Neho. Did not run well at Ellis, but again, I think 6.5 is too short, and I'm just wondering why they decided to shorten him up. I found that a little bit weird. And then 6.5 again, and on turf. This is not a turf horse. Paul, this horse is getting back to what he wants to do. A lot of intent with Gaffleone. Blinkers off. I have no concern there. Look, his big numbers last year, Paul, We're with blinkers off, going a mile and 1/8. He's working well. I absolutely love Call Me Fast. I might be talking myself into singling this horse in the pick 6 instead of the 2 Michaelicious, who I can't single anymore. Anyway, I could talk for another 20 minutes. You like Call Me Fast a little bit. You've got him third. Just quick thoughts on Call Me Fast, and then we'll go to your top choice.
I promoted him from a B to an A while you were speaking, Professor.
Oh, thank you.
How's that?
Right. You like him, obviously.
No, I'll tell you what I like. I like your idea about going. This is, I think, definitely a race you have to stay a little skinny in.
Yeah.
I get your feeling on the race before, but I may opt to go the other direction and go as wide as I can. But this race, and to some degree, I think the next race, I thought the 7 was solid. Sharp is 19% turf to dirt, which I also looked up while you were talking. I agree on the Tyler. I think he gets a controlling trip, and I won't be any deeper than the 7, 9, and 11. Put it that way.
Noah,
although I like the 11. I do like the 11.
We'll mention those 2 real quick. Noah, again, co-host of the show and host of Pacific Horse Players with Ryan Anderson. He's talking about the last race, by the way. Just want to mention
race
on the bottom of the screen. He's saying if the number 3 with Declan Cannon had IRAD, she'd be 2-1 morning line. I agree, or 2-1 in the race. I agree with you, no. I think the 3 is live. Anyway, a lot of great people in the chat. Paul Conlon from North Dakota. The 7 is my friend's horse. Well, any friend's horse of Paul is a friend of mine. So Sal, I'm not sure I've seen your name in the chat. Thank you very much for joining the show, Sal. Appreciate it. He's going 5, 11, 7. Let's talk about the 11 first, Paul. The 11 is similar to the 12 in the previous race, in the turf race, which I'm drawing a blank on. This is a wide post and a lower price. I like the horse. I'm not sure I love the spot. I'm going to use Ray's Cane defensively. I do like your top choice because I do think you might get an okay price. This is another one that is stretching maybe back out to a preferred distance.
Yeah, and again, I note this horse in the power picks as well, and I do think, this is anecdotal. I don't have hard data, but I do think Jose especially does a good job with horses like this that are outposted a little bit, that need to be put into the race. Not necessarily on the lead, but need to be in the race. And, similar to talking about the company the 7 kept last year, Howard, look at this year. Ray's Cane, Extra Anejo's not bad. Lost the Saudi Crown 2 races ago, and Cagliostro 3 races ago. Who unfortunately didn't hit the brake in the race at Saratoga, but that's another story for another day. I just in a mile and an 1/8. If you're going to be stuck out this wide at Keeneland, you want to be a mile and an 1/8 as opposed to a mile and a 16th, because you have an extra 16th to run. And we should note that the mile and an 1/8 race does finish at the regular finish line.
Oh boy, I knew that was coming. Yes, I'll tell you what. Mr. Machado redeemed himself with a complete bomb in the Perry.
You know what? Good.
Yeah, you know what?
It
knocked me out of a lot. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I say, oh yeah, no, I didn't want him to win that race. I didn't want to feel that good because,
no,
Jesus, my guy Bookham Dano can't get a good 7 furlongs, just can't get a good trip. No fault of anyone, but for Christ's sakes, he's 2 races in a row. He's gotten a nightmare trip. But anyway, Machado won 2 yesterday, and I am happy for it.
I'm happy for? I'm happy for a new viewer, Deborah Johnson. Hi, Deborah. What about the number 10 in race 7, Rambo approved? How do we know she's new? Because look at the bottom of the chat, Paul. Let me bring it up right now. I sure am glad I found your channel. I'm new to racing, and I'm learning a lot. Thank you so much for your time. No, Deborah, thank you for your time. That's why we're here, to help out newcomers and old guys like us. I'm doing a long time. She wants to mention Rambo approved. You know what? Just for Deborah, very quickly, we'll go to that horse. That's the 10 in race. Rambo approved is actually a Uruguayan bred, Deborah. So this horse is from South America. Does have a win for Paul Lobo, first time in the States. I mean, I don't think this horse would be completely impossible as a fresh face. So, plus, I love Rambo. I mean, who doesn't love Rambo, right? I mean, a 1, 2, 3. Actually, the original was great. After that, it went a little downhill. But
Yeah, no, I could see that. The horse won it 9-1 last time. That's the only thing. It might have been a last time's the time, but you know what? The horse won a Group 3 in Uruguay, coming off a win.
Who knows? Maybe this
Lobo, I'm
horse is
just
an
looking at the
up-and-comer.
stats here. Lobo stats, 2 off this kind of layoff is 30%. So 16% with Roman, who's certainly a good jock. So yeah, Deborah might have put us onto something here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that horse is completely impossible. All right, we got to talk about the 9 very quickly, Paul, because this is, I think, people have to make a decision. Michael Austin is in the chat. Michael Austin knows California racing very well, so he knows this horse. He says 9 can't get 9 furlongs. Jump ship. Can Hero Status get the mile and an eighth? Now look, he's gotten 2 perfect trips going 1 mile on California tracks. That does not necessarily translate to a mile and an eighth in Kentucky. In fact, when he's gone longer, he's been a bit of a struggle. However, he did run pretty well at Oaklawn in mile 16th, but he looks like more of a West Coast kind of miler. I have very serious thoughts about this horse not getting the distance. I sort of agree with Michael. The issue, though, Paul, is he also might get loose. So this is a separator, and it's my racehorse. You know this horse is going to take money.
Yeah, and I think you just hit the nail on the head, Howard. And especially take a look at who's in the irons, right? I'm looking at the pace. Now, ironically, the pace projector has the 5 beating the 9 to the turn.
There it is.
Right,
but not a fast pace.
Not a fast pace. I think if the 9, as you said, Howard, were to get a relatively easy lead and got loose, he don't be, sometimes the extra distance doesn't hurt horses who get on the lead like that and are able to go along at the pace they want to go along, right? So definitely a polarizing horse, but I think in a sequence, I don't think you can afford to get beat by him, even though he's going to be bet.
Race Kane has to go a little bit, right, from the 11. I mean, I'm not sure that I don't think the 11 is going to push the 9, but anyway, I think the break is huge, absolutely huge in that race. I'm gonna go 7-9 mainly, Paul. I think I might single the 7. I'm concerned about the pace situation. I hate losing tickets when I get wired. There's something about that bothers me more than horse that come from behind and over the top. I don't know why, just a mental thing with me, but. I don't know. Ideal, I'd like to go 7-9 in that race, but I'm not sure I'll be able to afford it. We'll see. The Dowager. This is the penultimate leg of the pick 6. It is race 8. Let's switch to it right there. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Also, Paul, for you, we are somewhat similar here now, and there is a big scratch we'll talk about. I'm going 7, 12, 6. Paul's going 12, 7, 9. In the Rood and Riddle fantastic facility that takes care of horses, the Rood and Riddle Dowager. It's a grade 3. They're going 1.5 miles on the turf for the older fillies and mares. A lot of horses we've seen run before. The number 1, 3 Priest, is out. She ran in New York yesterday. I could have used her. She didn't run very well. Number 9, Eternal Hope, is also out, Paul, for Godolphin. And the number 13, Embrace Me, is out. The number 14, Heartspin, for Navarrete and Morales, that combination that I like earlier in the day, does get in. Morning line favorite in a wide open field is the number 12, Nisi Marie, for Robert Reed and Rosario, who ran fantastic and won last time at Kentucky Downs, a very likable horse. That's where you're going with, Paul.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going. I like 3 horses in the race primarily, Howard. 2 of them are scratched. So I think someone's trying to tell me, hey, idiot, this is where you single. Not that I'm necessarily looking to single this horse because, the 12 is no bargain. But, boy, she did run huge last time in a decent field, a grade 3 at Kentucky Downs. Butchie Reed spots his horses so well. He brings horses to New York when they're ready and brings them to Kentucky when they're ready. This horse is 5 times in a row in the 90s, low to mid 90 buyers. I really thought the 1 was the second most likely winner and the 9 was the third most likely winner. So I'm going to just probably be all in here on Nisi Marie.
I get it. Again, the post maybe not a huge deal because there is a little bit of time into that first turn, but not a lot. Rosato's gonna. I mean, is this horse so good that she can just be wide and win? I don't think so. Not in this field. I think this is pretty wide open. But she has found that distance is working for her. This is the furthest she's gone though, Paul. And again, it's gonna be a lower price on a horse. Actually, she went a mile and 3/8. The way she's running right now, Paul, I don't think extra distance is going to be a big factor. Again, I just want to point out one slow work since her last. I realize sometimes horses are, I mean, she's been running all year, right? She's fit.
Yeah.
And with turf horses, it probably doesn't matter as much, Paul. I don't know. I just like to see steady works. And I'm slightly concerned about that, but I'm using her. I think she's extremely logical. I've picked Chop Chop probably too much than I should have, Paul. If you completely toss out the hills and valleys, I mean, that was her worst race in a long time. And I want to mention that she was favored over Chop Chop in that race. She was just awful. I don't know why. Maybe she was up too close. She won at Keeneland earlier this year in the Bewitched. And if you throw out her last race, look who she's lost to. McCulloch, Warlike Goddess, Atomic Blonde. That wasn't, she should have won there, but she lost by half a length. And that was a very fast pace. And Atomic Blonde just beat her at the end. I think Chop Chop is very logical here. With the 9 out, that makes a major difference. Quick question, and we'll move on here. Are the nine is out or no? Hold on a second.
Yes.
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 Quick thoughts on Surprisingly for Iran Rapoli. I thought she was a little bit slow, but I like the fact she's stretching back out. And I got a weird feeling Irad is sending and might try to wire this field.
Yeah, I mean, Beau Cachet is the Chad Frankie horse who won at 25 to 1 and then came back, was a price again, just running very well. But I just thought this horse ran kind of evenly all 3 races. I mean, that's a decent race with Didier and Nisi Marie. They're all good races, and you could argue maybe good enough to win this, but I don't know. I guess I'd look at the board here, which we wanted the luxury of doing in the multis. If a horse like this is going off 6, 7, 5, 6 to 1 and not taking money, I'm going to be probably less inclined to go. I mean, I'll have the horse on an ABC grid. Had her as a C, maybe promote to a B with the scratch. But again, if I'm trying to go thin in the race, this is probably not a horse I'm going to use.
Last one I want to mention, and then we'll go to the last race. And Paul, please, duck out when you need to. I know you got family stuff here. Did you look at the 10, the Cassie horse coming from, I think, was it from South Africa? I thought this horse was
Australia.
Australia. I thought this horse is quite interesting. I don't have any intel on Let's Be Frank Baby, but, Cassie's not an idiot. And this is Gary Barber, owned. So I don't know much about this horse, but I mean, would I be shocked if this horse won? I wouldn't. I'm going to try to use her if I can in the pick 6.
Yeah, I neglected to check the stats, so I did it while you were talking. 14% with foreign shippers, Cassie is, so that's certainly respectable. And again, we talk about this all the time. Horses win where after the race you say, why the hell didn't I use that horse? That horse figured, but there's this 6-letter word, nasty word called budget.
Dang it. I even looked at number 3 Anatolian, Paul. Anatolian's got some numbers on the go back that aren't impossible. I mean, this is just, I don't know if I want to take a stand here or not. If you single the 12, I would say good on you, Paul. You're probably right. I don't know. This is a very interesting sequence from a structure standpoint, Paul.
Yeah.
You got any money in your pocket? I might need some help here. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, we could probably talk, but
All right. Any viewers out there want to put a pool? Nah.
I'll be in the car from about noon on, Howard, for about 45 minutes. So you just ring on.
All right. I will do that. That's your time, I'm assuming, correct? When you say that?
Yes.
Obviously. Okay. All right. We'll talk after the show.
Matt Gum is in the chat, Howard.
Who?
Matt Gum, the best.
Matt Gum.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. There he is.
the
Matt
best.
Gum, our friend Matt Gum. Good morning, guys. Keep up the great work. I think Matt, I saw on X, was at Keeneland yesterday, I believe, Paul, in the stand. So what's
I
up, Matt?
saw him
Good luck.
Friday
All
and
right.
Saturday last weekend, and of a trip with many highlights, that was one of them.
Michael Austin, you got big pockets. You're with you're
Three-way
big,
call.
big stable out there.
Austin we'll do a three-way call.
All right. Well, if I had his phone number, maybe I would. All right. Anyway, John Laurel, see
This
you at
race.
Del Mar Saturday. Actually, I think he means Del Mar, the Breeders' Cup Saturday, of course. All right.
Yeah.
Last race, Paul. Let's get to it here. Very difficult way to close out the sequence, although there is what I thought was a big scratch, and it's not, for some reason, it's not on here unless, yeah, there we go. Okay. Maiden 30, 2-year-old, 6 furlongs, not the highest quality horses. Paul, 2 horses that are major consequence for you and I are scratched. The 4 and 5 are both out. The 1
was my big price.
I know. 1, 4, 5, 9, 13. Again, 1, 4, 5, 9, 13 are out, which makes this an 8-horse field. So actually, it's not a big field anymore. The Moyline favorite was the number 9, Man of Mischief, who is now scratched. And the second choice was the number 4, All the Luck, at 3-1. Excuse me. That one is scratched. So I'm guessing the fade trim is going to go to number 3, Sell It, or probably number 12, Banks, the first time starter. Paul, I'll put our picks, but obviously these are going to change. Originally, I was 3, 4, 12, and you were 12, 5, 4. I'm not going to ask you for a new 3, Paul. I got to re-handicap a little bit. I'm going to stick with my 3 on top. I'm assuming you're going to stick with your 12 on top. Banks for IRAD and a maiden 30.
Well, I'll tell you, Howard, what I thought of this race was back to the power picks. I had the 5 as my long shot play of the day at 15-1, and I thought I made a pretty decent case, but it was a reach. And in the same race, I have the 12 as a spot play at 5-1. Now, that is not as insane as it sounds. I think, Howard, I'll use the 6 a little. I use the 3 maybe. But I'll tell you what.
Go for it, Brittany, at the end, Paul. Go for it.
I'm going to go to the banks.
Send it in. There we go.
I'm going to go to the banks. And, first time starter out there, you never know. But Outwork is 15% with first time starter. Brittany Russell with 2-year-old first time starters, 21%. She is 0-9 at Keeneland, but over 5 years. That's a very small sample. She gets her first win at Keeneland in the finale today.
Paul, this is very important to mention for me. The Dam blip says by, okay, only won 40,000. She was quick, okay? And you got to think, Paul, this horse cost $7,000, right? Brittany's not going to bring over just some kind of bum. This horse there's so much intention here that she was only cost $7,000 to buy. Outwork was a $10,000 stud fee. She puts her in for 30. Him in for 30.
We have a guest, Howard. We have a guest. Come over here.
Oh, who's here?
Say hi to Howard.
Hey. Hello. How are you?
As we've been blabbing, she's been working out. I need to go check her out here.
Yes. Thanks, Paul. Good luck in your pick 6. Everyone stay on board.
Call me.
We'll talk after, Paul. Thanks. All right. Paul's got to take care. That was Martha. Martha's wonderful daughter. Paul helping out with Martha, who's a very special young lady. Anyway, let's just go very quickly back to Banks. Banks, again, Brittany Russell. The Dam was quick, although not overly talented. Ships all the way here from Fairhill. Has a work over the track. IRAD. You're not getting 6-1, ladies and gentlemen. This horse is going to be, it could be the favorite even. I think Banks is very logical. I understand if you want to single this horse on the end, I would have no problem with that with anyone. The horse that I liked quite a bit here is the number 3, Sell It, for Morales and John Innes. This is a drop. I know she's 0-4, or he is 0-4. I don't usually like the 0-4, but if you guys look here, and ladies, you see all this red here? See this red in the PPs? Red. That means they were fast paces early. And based on the scratches, the 2 is not that quick. If the 3 breaks, the 3 is going to have the lead, or at least battling with the 12. I don't see a lot of other early speed in here with all these scratches. I think the 3's got a big shot to wire the field. The 3 is going 6.5 last time in a higher level at Churchill, battled all the way, ran a much improved effort. I think Sell It could be difficult on the lead here to close out the pick 6. I mean, the 6 you wouldn't think is going to show speed, although I wouldn't be shocked if the 6 is a little more tactical, but hasn't shown it yet. The 7 is not quick enough to go with the 3. The 8 is not quick enough to go with the 3. The 10 is certainly not quick enough to go with the 3, and the 11 is slow. So to me, this race now is very much 312, and I will probably single one of them and just take a chance in my pick 6, because especially with the 2 in the second leg, Michaelicious being out, I could single Raise Kane in the 7. Maybe I won't single at all. I don't know. Again, ignore the picks on the bottom of the screen because the 5 and the 4 are out. I think this race is very much about the 3 and the 12, and they're going to take 90% of the money in the pick 6. So if the 3 or 12 do not win the last leg, it could be complete chaos. I just think those 2 lay over the field unless someone can really surprise here. The only other one I would even consider using in the last leg would be the 6, but that'd be very, very defensively. Let's go ahead and look at our pick 6 tickets. Again, I thank Paul Halloran for being on with us. Maybe he'll pop back here before the show is over, but again, does have to take care of some family duties with his wonderful daughter, Martha. Here's Paul's Halloran's pick 6 ticket on the bottom of the screen. And again, him and I are probably going to play bigger ones. We don't say that to brag. I just simply say, like Michael Austin said, call some friends, call some neighbors, call whoever you got, coworkers, put together a ticket. This pool is going to be probably close to $1 million in the pick 6 pool at Keeneland. It is a $1 base bet, ladies and gentlemen. It's a $1 base bet, not 2. So you can put together a decent ticket, but pool your money together. Paul is going 4 with 2, 5, 9, with 4, 5, 11, 12, with 9, 11, with 7, 12. He's got 4, 5, 12 on the bottom of the screen. Again, that was without our scratches before the show. I'm sure Paul would alter that greatly, especially obviously because the 4 and the 5 are out of the last race. So that was Paul's original pick 6 ticket. For 144. My original pick 6 ticket, which again will be changing, I'm not going to single the 4 in the first leg. I would go 4, 6, 8. Obviously, I cannot single the 2 now in the last race. I would go 3 or 4 deep in the second race. Can't single the 2. I'm going to use 3 or 4 horses in leg 2. I would go 3, 4, 9, 12 in leg 3, 7, 9 leg 4. Leg 5, I have 7, 12 written down right now. And in the closeout leg, if I can afford it, I will go 3 and 12. And that is what I will do. Again, I have a $144 ticket there on the screen. That is going to change based on scratches. When you do a live show, everyone, the scratches come in literally, 5 minutes before the show starts. And I have to prepare for this show last night with all the graphics. So apologize for the changes that will have to be made. Quick, very important announcements. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Please don't leave quite yet. Tomorrow night here on the HHH Racing Podcast, we are starting our Breeders' Cup coverage. I know I sent out an email that said we're going to start Wednesday. We're too excited. Tomorrow night, Monday night, 7:30 Eastern, myself, Pete, and Paul will take an early look at the anti-post betting favorites. If you don't know what that means the current favorites right now, according to the European betting market. We'll look at almost every race, and we're going to say crush or fade. Do we signal that horse? Do we crush that horse and like that horse? Or is it a fade and we don't like the favorites? We're going to go through almost every race. So please join us at 7:30 Monday night Eastern. And then Wednesday night, all the pre-entries are going to be in. They're announced on Wednesday, and we have a show Wednesday night. It's not up on YouTube. It'll be up very soon to talk about all the pre-entries. You'll see which horses are cross-entered. You'll see what horses might be going somewhere for you European watchers. Those are basically called our declarations. That's what they call it in Europe. And then later in the week, Friday, mark your calendars for Friday. I don't want to spoil it yet. We've got a taped show and a live show you absolutely don't want to miss. Two of the most highly anticipated shows of the entire year, let alone the Breeders' Cup, is going to be happening Friday. One is going to be given out as a taped episode. The other will be live. Check out our emails. Check out YouTube. If you want to get on our email list, please email me at the bottom of the screen. It's going to pop up, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Again, my first letter, last name, it's coming up on the screen right now, hkravitzhorse, one word, @gmail.com. If you want to put on our email list, email me. I'll do that. But check YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And please hit the notification bell on the top right-hand side of the screen on YouTube, because that will tell you when our new content will be arising. And we have more than 10 shows and more than 15 hours of coverage for the 2024 Breeders' Cup at beautiful Del Mar, in which most of the podcast members will actually be at. We cannot wait. Sunday, October 20th, this has been Keeneland Today with your host, Howard Kravitz, and wonderful co-host, Paul Halloran. Crush your bets at Keeneland in the Pick Six today on Sunday. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for Breeders' Cup Show Preview number 1. Take care.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.